right, welcome all. It's a bright, sunshiny day here in San Francisco. My usual partner in these is at a work training, so it's just me on my feed. My name is Mark Cormier. I teach yoga, and I've been doing this for a while now, ever since the pandemic. My employer had us go online, and then we started to do some free-form apart from that employment. Anyway, if you'd like to see anything, put it in the chat. It's just me, so it's going to be a little hard to see. So if I don't get to it this week, we'll get to it next week. All right, so let's get started here. Let's bring hands on hips and just marching it side to side, just waking up our legs. This is a morning practice. We've been in bed hopefully all night. Sometimes there are those moments of waking up in the middle of the night. Maybe we get up. But generally, we've been still, we've been relatively motionless. And now we want to invite energy back into our bodies. Now grounded down through both feet as we rock it from side to side, just finding our center. And now equal weight in both feet as we find that center. Now lifting up the heels, lifting up the toes. I'll invite you to articulate your feet. Think of a piece of tape on a counter, and you're either laying that tape down or pulling that tape up. Next time your toes are lifted, I'll invite you to hold that, maybe taking it just a little bit higher, challenging your balance. And then laying those toes down one at a time, starting with the little toe, all the way through to the big toe. Now lifting up those heels, I'll invite you to lift those heels up and keep those heels up. I'll invite you to lift up a little higher as you challenge your balance. And now grounded down through the heels. From our center, either keeping the feet wide, nice foundation, you could always challenge your balance as you narrow your stance, and that can change throughout our practice this morning. From our feet, finding our legs. From our legs, finding our spine. Relax shoulders long through all sides of the neck as the crown of our head stretches up towards the sky. I'll invite you to bring your hands to your heart, a light press of your thumb against your sternum as you line up each finger. Soft tuck of the chin. If you're comfortable with closing your eyes, closing your eyes. Otherwise, just softening your eyes and starting our practice this morning, watching as our breath flows in and as our breath flows out. Arriving here in our yoga space, ready for a short morning practice. From a place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow breath in, followed by an equally long, slow breath out. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to bring the air to the top of your chest, the base of your belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll invite you to engage your core as you draw the low belly in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, squeezing a little more air out, most importantly with that core engagement, providing structural support for your low back as we move through these shapes and sequences. The inhalation takes care of itself as the diaphragm engages to stretch down towards our navel to draw air into our lungs. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards a go-to breath in many flow practices. It's a heating breath, the Ujjayi breath, or victorious breath, slightly constricting the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice, the sound of which often compared to the sounds of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Keeping all this with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping this, I'll invite you to set an intention for your day. It could be as simple as be here now. It could be something bigger than that or smaller than that. And dedicating our practice this morning towards that intention. Now lifting the chin tall through the crown. If you close the eyes, opening the eyes. I'll invite you to roll your hands over as you bring your hands by your side. Joint work. Hands find the hips. Let's step one foot back, other foot forward as we ground down through the balls of the toes, circling the ankle, the knee, and the hip. Inviting in more flow. Now taking those circles the other way. Now grounded down through that foot, we'll step it on back. We'll step the other foot front. Grounded down through the balls of the toes as we circle the ankle, the knee, and the hip. Inviting in more flow. And then taking those circles the other way. Now grounded down through that foot, let's step the feet right together. We'll come down and cap the knees with the hands and circling our knees. Now taking those knee circles the other way. Now coming back up, let's step the feet hip width apart. I'll go sideways here. Hands find the back of the hips, the fingers face down. We can angle the toes out just a tad to open up those hips. And starting small as we circle our hips, keeping equal weight in both feet. And then letting those circles go bigger. Big becomes small as we move back towards our center. Once finding our center, we'll start a small circle the other way. And then letting it get bigger. Big becomes small as we move back towards our center. Once finding our center, pretending we have an extra set of hands, keeping the hips relatively stable as we bring a hand onto each shoulder. And starting small as we circle our shoulders. And then letting it get bigger. Warming up our upper back, inviting in more circulation. Establishing patterns of movement that will stay with us for the rest of our day. Big becomes small as we move back towards our center, and then starting small as we circle those shoulders the other way. And letting it get bigger. Moving back towards our center. From here, two arms in the air like you either do or don't care. Maybe you do both at once, who knows. Thumb and forefinger of the left hand catch the right wrist, and we can traction that right shoulder. And as a natural consequence of that traction, we're starting to circle the shoulders as we circle the hips the other way. Starting small and then letting it get bigger. Whoa, gravity waves. Moving back towards our center. And now thumb and forefinger of the right hand catch the left wrist. We can start to traction that left shoulder. And as a natural consequence of that traction, starting to circle shoulders one way, and then letting those hips circle the other. Starting small, and then letting it get bigger. Moving back towards our center. And then hands by our side. So let's come out of those shoulders a little bit here. As we inhale the shoulders up towards the ears. On the exhale, I invite you just to let them drop. Let the breath come out through the mouth. Let's do that a few times. A couple more times. And then keeping those shoulders heavy, moving towards Sun Sal A. I'll invite you to walk towards the top of your space here. Either keeping those feet just as they were, or narrowing your stance to challenge your balance. We'll take Sun Sal A in 3 pieces. Starting with arms and shoulders, inhaling the arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling arms back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Observing the natural rhythm of the shoulders as the arms elevate, the shoulders elevate. As the arms descend, the shoulders descend. 1 more time here. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, hands back down. Half sun salutation. We'll add a back bend and a forward fold. Inhaling arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to arc the back. Hands can cap the knees. You could also use a brick to raise the floor. On the exhale, rounding the spine, strong tuck of the chin. We could lower the brick or catch the back of the shins. On the inhale, finding your neutral spine, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 2 more times like that. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, leading with the heart as we fold. Take a breath to arc. Exhaling, arching, strong tuck of the chin. Notice how that stretches out the low back. Inhaling, leading with back, heart, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. 1 more to go here. Breathing in, lifting up. Exhaling, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to arc the back. Arching the spine as we fold again. Inhaling, riding the breath up, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Putting it together, Sun Sal A. I will not cue vinyasa. We're going to stretch it straight back to down dog. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, finding your forward fold. Take a breath to arc. Exhaling, arching, strong tuck of the chin, rounded down through 2 hands. We can step 1 foot back and then the other as we find our down dog. As we hold this down dog, I'll invite you to walk the dog as we bend 1 leg deeply and then the other, moving back and forth between the sides. Seeing how your body feels this morning. What feels tight? What feels right? What feels somewhere in between? From a place of movement, moving back towards stillness. Long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. Despite the lack of overt movement, we're still breathing. Our heart's still beating, our mind's still moving. And by focusing on your breath as it flows in and out, finding a little more space between each breath, each beat of the heart, each thought. Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone just a little bit higher, finding a little more space in the low back, and then looking between the hands as you mindfully make your way to the top of your space. Take a breath to create length when you arrive. Keeping that length as we fold again. Inhaling, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. Second one, much like the first, except I'm going to cue a plank pose. Inhaling, arms out to the side and then overhead. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you fold. Take a breath to arc the back. And then arching the spine, strong tuck of the chin, grounded down through 2 hands and stepping 1 foot back and then the other as we find our plank. Feeling that connection between head, hips, and heels. Despite the effort of the action, still keeping an easeful quality to your breath. Shoulders super, super, super engaged. Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, navel to spine, as you lift the hips high, finding your down dog. Either holding it in stillness, seeing what comes up, or walking that dog, stirring it up. However you choose to work, just checking in, finding that mind-body connection that's always there. How do you feel? If you chose to add movement, moving back towards stillness. Long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone just a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you either step or maybe jump it to the front of your mat. If you're wearing glasses, maybe losing your glasses. Take a breath to arc. Exhaling, arching. Inhaling, hands over head pose. Exhaling, standing tall. So we're going to do Sun Sal B flow style. It's a lot of movement. I'll try to keep talking while we do it. Finding that narrower stance. This is a substantially harder than what we've been doing. Inhaling into tall spine. This is Sun Sal B. Exhaling, finding your chair. Inhale and hold. Exhale, go lower. Inhale, rising on up, glutes engaged, a big back bend at the top, open heart, open throat. Exhaling, a big swan dive over. Take a breath to arc the back. Exhaling, arching the spine, strong tuck of the chin. Now grounded through two hands, we're going to find the top of a push-up, plank pose. Using the knees on this first push-up, elbows shave the ribs as we come all the way down. Unfurling the feet, pulling back with the hands to lift up the heart. Let me go a little backwards here so you'll be in frame. For a cobra pose. From here, grounded down through the chin, tucking the toes, inhaling into all fours, and then exhaling into down dog. From here, feet together, right leg high, high on the left toes. Looking between the hands, pitching that leg even higher. And then flexing the foot as we bring it out through, spinning the back heel down, finding our warrior one, arms out to the side, and then overhead. On your next exhale, spinning the palms out, finding low lunge as we spin that back heel up. Finding the top of another push-up, this time not using the knees, exhaling. Inhaling into up dog, we can use the knees to set the shape as we unfurl the feet. Navel to spine as we lift the hips high, finding down dog. Feet together, inhaling left leg high, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, pitching that leg even higher, flexing the foot as we spin the back heel down, finding our warrior one, arms out to the side, and then overhead. Riding the exhale back to low lunge, finding the top of a push-up, inhaling. Exhaling, elbows shave the ribs, this time not using the knees, rolling over the toes. Navel to spine, rolling back over the toes, and finding down dog. And we'll hold this for a few breaths. From down dog, long, smooth breath in. Equally long, smooth breath out. Tail end of that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you look between the hands, and either stepping or keeping that jump front. Take a breath to create length. Keeping that length as we fold. On the inhale, stay low, knees over toes, hands overhead. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhale, rising on up, open heart, open throat. On the exhale, standing tall. I'll invite you to bring hands back to heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum. Relax shoulders, a soft tuck in the chin. Coming back to that place of watching as our breath flows in. And watching as our breath flows out. As we watch our breath coming back towards that intention. Reflecting upon that intention. You've treated yourself right with some morning exercise, with some morning yoga. Giving yourself the strength, the determination, and the focus to move towards that intention. Lifting the chin tall through the crown, I'll invite you to roll your hands over. Once hands by the side, let's take one big ancillary breath. Big breath in, the arms move out, the fingers widen. On the exhale, hands by our side. I'll invite you to find the connection of thumbs, the connection of each finger. I'll invite you to bring the thumb to the forehead, Our intention is in our thoughts. I'll invite you to bring your thumb to your lips. Our intention is in our words. I'll invite you to bring your thumb to your heart. Our intention is in our actions. Lifting the chin tall to the crown, rolling the hands over. And that's our morning warm-up. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I anticipate next week we'll be back on Kathy's feet and with Kathy as our yoga model. As always, namaste. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.